We begin with your viewing pleasure, especially great on a rainy day like today. You know, the latest masterpiece from legendary filmmaker Ken Burns and his talented team is The American Revolution. This six-part series visits the struggle that defined a nation, bringing fresh perspective to a story that we thought we already knew. Joining us now is one of the series co-directors, David Schmidt, to share what went into crafting this sweeping documentary and why its message still resonates today. So great to have you here with us. Thank you for being here.
Great to be here, Melissa. Thank you for having me.
All right, so you and Ken Burns often talk about history as a process of discovery. So how did that idea actually shape the American Revolution?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, we're not out to tell you what you should have known or what you should think about a certain thing. And I think that approach helps us. You know, we come in not knowing very much. There's little about this film that I knew going in. And so with that in mind, every day is what do we uncover? What do we find interesting? What do we think pieces things together to tell this story in a coherent way? Now, that isn't to say we don't have experts who deal with this every day and really know it really well, telling us, hey, you can't leave that out, you can't leave that out. But I think what it gives you is a more entertaining, more interesting approach that really isn't about, hey, you should know this. It's not didactic. This is what we learned.
Yeah, oh, and you know what? Like we'd mentioned, you know, this is a story I think that a lot of us think that we already know, but what new perspectives and surprises did you uncover in that process?
Sure. I mean, you know, we're not trying to upset the apple cart too much. There's a lot of the stuff that you know that remains true. I don't think it'll surprise you to hear that the American Revolution won independence for America, that it united the states, that it created a Republican government that still is with us today, 250 years later. But what might surprise you is that none of those objectives, republic, the nation, independence, the Union, were on the table at the start of the war. On April 19th, 1775, when this war began, it was about redressing grievances. It was about opposing tyranny. It was about liberating Boston. It was about making things go back to the way that they were when we were happy under the British Empire. And what happens is that the war, in the course of the war, the course the war takes changes all of that. And it becomes necessary to declare independence. It becomes necessary to unite the states in order to win. And when you get all the people involved and you make these promises about greater liberty within a new government, then you have, you know, the Bill of Rights, and you have all these things that create the conditions for a democracy, which was not the goal at the start. And I would just say, and one thing that might be specifically interesting for people from Idaho is, you know, even when the colonists maybe had only made it just over the Appalachians in 1775, the war affected people living out your way as well. It was so connected, the continent, even back then, that something like a smallpox epidemic that breaks out in these really, you know, not clean army camps back east makes its way up the waterways up to the Pacific coast, but through Idaho as well. So you'll see a map in the episode too that shows that that epidemic expanding across the continent.
Oh wow! So some real different perspectives that we really haven't had the opportunity to probably, you know, pursue when we're in our elementary education on this, right? Yeah. And you know, we are approaching the 250th anniversary of 1776. What do you hope viewers take away from watching this series?
Well, I hope people are going to have their own individual takeaways for sure. So I think what I hope more than anything is that people do find some resonance with today, whatever that may be. But I think that personally, what I think is maybe the most interesting thing is how much these people who fought this revolution, who lived through it, who waged and witnessed that war, how much they are like us. They're just people who are in extraordinary circumstances and really uncertain times. And I think a lot of us can resonate with that, can see ourselves in them and can imagine maybe what we might have done in that situation, or maybe it's unimaginable. I don't know, but it's a real human story that I think is worth our understanding. And I also think that given the 250th and the you know, year-long celebrations that we're going to have, this will give us something, I hope this gives us something to, you know, like a bedrock understanding, something that we can talk about, that we can share. This story belongs to all of us, to every American, and maybe that can help us to have some conversations that we aren't otherwise having.
Yeah, right. Like remind us of our roots and bring us together opposed to divide.
Maybe.
Yeah. Thank you so much, David.
Thank
Greatly
you, Melissa.
appreciate your time and being here. A reminder for our viewers, The American Revolution premieres November 16th through the 21st at 8 p.m. Mountain Time on PBS or on PBS streaming. Again, thank you so much, David. More on
Thank you.
Today coming up right after this.